Hey everyone, this is Lee here, just with a real quick whatever. Um, the other day I was shopping in one of those big box, home centers, and I was just having the hardest time finding any help. I, was pushing a cart. I was obviously looking for something else. I was looking for a sink, and and it seemed almost like I was invisible there. I couldn't seem to find anybody that worked there. I couldn't find what I was looking for, and it was just incredibly frustrating, really, to say the least. And sometimes I would see somebody that worked there, and I would begin to walk towards them, and they would actually just avert their eyes, just try not to make eye contact with me, because if they did, it would, hold them responsible to respond or ask, can they help me, or whatever. And eventually I had to kind of flag somebody down and get obnoxious and say, hey, I need some help over here. Can you help me find something? And I was able to find what I was looking for. But I just remember just this sense of just fatigue, discouragement. I mean, these places are huge. You could probably hide out in one of one of these stores for weeks before anybody found you. And it was just an overwhelming sense of kind of being surrounded by people who really didn't care. And just a couple days ago, let me just kind of go back. After that, I'm all down on that store. I sent out a tweet, and about how down I was on them. And I got to thinking about this guy. This is a guy that comes to our church occasionally. He doesn't attend the church, but he lives in the neighborhood, and he'll drop in, usually at the most inopportune moments, and it can get very frustrating because he's got a story that can be difficult to believe, and he always comes in and he just asks for money, and it's always kind of one of those scenarios where you wish you had a better process in place, something to kind of stand behind a little bit. It just kind of I got to this point where I was just hoping he wouldn't come anymore. I was hoping he wouldn't come by, and sometimes people like that, we tend to think, they're always going around asking for money. They don't really have feelings. You just gotta kind of get rude with them. Maybe they'll go away. Sometimes we just don't treat them like human beings. And the other day he came in and he just asked if he could talk to me for a couple minutes, and my assumption was he's going to pull me aside for a couple minutes and ask me for money and whatever. And I've tried to explain to him many times, hey, we're just a little church plant. We're just getting started. We really don't have a benevolence fund set up yet. But maybe in the future when we get a process in place, and I've given him cash out of my wallet before. But this is just one of those days where I was incredibly busy and there were people there, and he walked in, and this guy said, hey, can we talk? And I said, anything you need to say, you can say in front of these guys. They're okay, and this guy started to kind of hem and haw a little bit, and I just turned around and I said, look, I don't have any money for you. And he didn't really show it, but he just kind of, he was upset about this, and he didn't really show it. He said, all right, man, well, I wasn't going to ask you for money. I was going to see how you're doing. I said, well, whatever. And I made small talk with him and kind of walked him out the door, really. And today he called me, and I was really surprised by his call, because a lot of times we view people that maybe just don't seem like they've got it all together, or maybe they're always going around asking for money or whatever. And I think sometimes we don't take into account their feelings. Whether we're able to help them or not, we don't take into account really their feelings. And he called me up, And he said, I need to talk to you. And I said, okay. And he said, I came into the church and you said to me what you said, and you just looked at me and said, I don't have any money for you. He said it was embarrassing. My heart dropped, my heart sank. I thought you were a brother in the Lord, and I need to talk to you about that. And two things really struck me. Number one, it's easy as a pastor to be the big box store employee. You know what I mean? Where just we don't want to make eye contact because that obligates us to give people our time and give people our energy. And we get so down on the big box stores, but a lot of times in churches we're just like it, and I think a lot of people come into our church or any church and they feel like I did at the big home store, lost, frustrated, not getting the answers that we're looking for. Nobody will look us in the eye, and I wonder sometimes how many people come into our church and feel that way. And I felt real bad about the way I treated this guy, and we did talk on the phone, and he's still a bit of a mystery to me, but I had to give him big respect for being a bigger man than me and calling me to talk out an offense rather than just blowing me off the way that I blew him off. You take away from that what you want to take away, but I think in church, in general, we need to rehumanize people, because as pastors, as ministers, as leaders, we tend to caricaturize people rather than see them as image bearers, and worth a few minutes of our time. So, whatever that's worth, you're probably a bigger man than me anyway, but maybe you'll learn something from it. But that's all I got to share. So maybe going forward, let's take. Maybe it's okay to take more of a mom and pop mentality rather than a big box store mentality when we're doing ministry. I'm Bezotte. Thanks a lot for your time.